All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And wow, I'm convinced Andrew Yang watches Problem Solver Politics on a regular basis. A, because it would be strategically sound plan, but also many a time on the show we've said you got to use Evelyn. You've got a gift in Evelyn, man. You got to drag her onto the stage with you. And this week,
Evelyn being his wife.
Yeah, Evelyn being his wife. This week, he started doing that. And even today, he tweeted about it. And we're going to see how it pays off because he's supposedly going to bring her to the Bet on Yang event in Las Vegas, which we will be at. So make sure that you check out our live streams and are subbing to us on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram and all the platforms. So when we go live, you are there with us. So Cody, tell us what's going on.
Yes. So yeah, as you're mentioning, we've been, and either Yang watches us or we're just so right all the time that we're just ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Either way, one or the other.
It's quite possibly both.
All jokes aside, I've had this tweet on the screen for a few seconds here for you guys. It's a little bit, and what I want to highlight here the most, you said that he's going to bring her to the Bet on Yang rally. It's portrayed in a way where you would think that, but it's worded in a way to suggest that's not the case. What interests me the most about this, though, is you'll notice this, reading through the tweet, is him just forcing Evelyn out there into the front. Yeah. I have not seen this cartoon image of Evelyn. I've seen that cartoon Yang for months. Yeah. And you'll notice all he's saying is, I'm on my way out west. The best part, Evelyn will be joining me for part of the trip and then meeting me in Atlanta on the East Coast.
By the way, whatever cartoon generator is making these little cartoons is serving Evelyn far better than serving Andrew.
It's right here. Jonathan D. Cheng, I believe.
Yeah, because
LA-based illustrator. Shout out to John Cheng.
Yeah, I was about to say she looks like solid 20 years younger than in the cartoon version.
I don't want to get too lost in all this stuff. The reason why I bring this up, two things. One, quick little segue. We're actually, as Cardin said, we're going to be out in Vegas for the Bet on Yang rally and I believe it's called First of the West, Best in the West. I don't know, some kind of Democrat dinner. I'm going to have a couple links in the description for you guys. I know it's kind of late notice, but if any of you guys are in the kind of West Coast area, in the Las Vegas area, we're going to be on the Strip, a bunch of Yang Gang people on the 16th, the Sunday coming up, which would be the 17th. I apologize. We're going to be at the Rio, and they're going to be doing a big walk from the Rio, I believe, all the way down to the Bellagio. We're going to be there. A bunch of Yang Gang is going to be there. A bunch of other creators are going to be there. It's going to be a ton of fun. So like I said, all of this video in the description, as well as the Eventbrite posting, so you guys can figure out how to come hang out with us. It's going to be a ton of fun. Vegas. Yang Gang in Vegas. No offense to Des Moines, but it seems to be an easier draw to get people out to Vegas than Des Moines. No offense. I know Des Moines is a lovely city with some great people there, but Vegas just kind of has a different pull. So that aside, I just want to let you guys know we're going to be there. Anyway, getting into the point of the video. It's a little bit long of an intro, but what I really want to talk about today, as Carl's bringing up, is we've been talking a lot about my angle. I think it's the same with Cardin, is the idea that people keep saying, how can Yang track better with older voters? If you want to look at just the last Quinnipiac poll that came out, double figures under 39, not above 4% with any other age bracket.
Yeah,
or actually under 29, double figures.
Really lagging. Not just lagging. We are talking Frankenstein limping.
But also simultaneously killing it with young people. So, how do you kind of bridge that gap? We've been kind of both saying, lean on the families. These families, got young kids. That's older people can relate them more than younger people. So this picture is one instance of it, but it's just a picture, right?
And by the way, don't underestimate that. I know we have an audience that skews very young. And I don't know what scientific evidence there is for this, but I can tell you anecdotally in my life, okay? Nobody in any of my social circles, be it family, church, volunteer organizations, in local politics, ever respected me half as much until I got married. You go to a boss as a 25-year-old man and say, oh, you know what? My girlfriend's got a graduation. I really want to make sure I hit it and I support it. Dude, you got work that day. What's wrong with you? Show up to work. I don't care what your girlfriend's up to. You know what I'm saying? You walk up to him as a 25-year-old man and say, oh, you know what? My wife's got a graduation and I got to make sure that I support her. Oh, your wife. Oh, yeah. No, by all means, go, bro. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like that there's no difference between anything other than the word wife and girlfriend in those sentences. But it speaks volumes to the older generation, so much so that I think you're a fool for not showing it off. You've got a lovely wife. Evelyn's beautiful. She's obviously extremely talented because of her professional career that was so successful. And she's killing it apparently with her kids enough that you're willing to mention them in campaign articles. Why don't you drag her out on stage, dude? That's what converts that's what converts the baby boomers almost to a point where sometimes it's actually reverse. There was a local politician named Suzette that was running for a local state assembly, and a lot of the older folks were like, well, she's got small children, can she manage this in the home? You know what I'm saying? Like there's the older people are so traditional that being a married man is almost like a rite of passage. Like, we think that you understand things better because you've gone through this rite of passage, and to a certain extent, rightfully so. Okay, so I think he's a fool for flying solo, and showing off Evelyn and showing off those kids is going to be generating, especially with the boomers and with the elderly who all have votes too, a much different response, because it's an advantage. Name anybody else who can pull that off. Buttigieg can't. Kamala Harris can't. Sanders, Biden.
We were talking. You either have much older children, like Hunter Biden was a C-level employee at a company in Ukraine. Obviously, not
by C-level we mean getting $83,000 a month.
Small. Well, yeah, exactly. High-level employee. It's no small child. That is interesting for the small kids angle. The other thing too, I want to get into a little bit though, because just the fact that he has a wife. I know you went in a very long rant about the fact that having a wife means you're a complete person, but. Bill Clinton had a wife, you know what I mean? And she ran for president. Hillary Clinton had a husband, I guess I could say. It didn't help her, right? So I want to get into more like, what is Evelyn going to bring to his campaign? Not just, she is a woman and she is his wife. That is lovely. But what does it mean to more? Now, a lot of you guys probably have already seen this. You've probably seen some of these tidbits. I want to kind of reiterate it and kind of go over some more stuff. This is an article. It's actually from a video. CNN actually got an exclusive interview with the young couple. About a week ago, I believe, or a little over a week ago. So it's adoring fans and raising a child with autism. Andrew and Evelyn Yang share what's behind his unlikely run. You'll notice CNN hasn't always been the most favorable with their headlines, but like you said, it's kind of hard to clown on a guy and his wife and their child with autism. It's kind of like they're just a nice like, young family. There's not a whole lot to say, but there's some really funny tidbits in here I want to show you guys. Now, one of my favorite things I thought was early on was when they were talking a little bit down here. I believe it is. Here we go. So, Andrew, this is them referencing Andrew running for president, and she was like, I figured he was just going to blow it. It's not going to happen. I guess at one point, this is a quote from Evelyn. She said, Andrew, there's no reason for you to do this because someone else is going to run on universal basic income and the automation of jobs. Then Andrew Yang responded, I'm not sure that's really happening. And we see we're kind of at the point, some people are still jumping in, but the primary is kind of set moving forward. Yeah. And no one else is talking about these things at all. So I thought that was kind of funny and cute.
And the times they've
probably
tried
hears it so much, he's probably like, dude, it sounds like a good idea. Someone else is going to do it, right? And he's like, no one else is going to do it. So that was one. And there's one other thing I wanted to show you. This is a story that's been going around a lot, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But it's just kind of one of the just referencing Andrew and Evelyn when they were dating. Again, these though are the kind of human stories that really can attract someone to a candidate from more than just his ideas are good to, wow, I like this person. So it's a humorous little story. So I guess when they first met, Andrew Yang, where's the quote exactly? It was on our second date, and he said, "My mom would love you." I thought that was so sweet that he would care what his mom thought about me and that she would like me. Evelyn Yang added.
He pulled the mom card
in reference to her saying Andrew had no game when they met. She's like, "Yeah, he said his mom would love me." I gotta tell you, it obviously worked out, right? They've been married for a long time. Just stories that let you have a human connection to the candidate are very important. Also, like I said, Hillary had a husband and she wasn't exactly leaning on that in her run. You know what I mean? My husband used to be President Bill Clinton. What happened to Bill Clinton again? He might have lied under oath, maybe. I don't know.
There's always outliers, but by and large, it's huge. And I got to tell you, don't knock that whole "my mom would love you" thing, just because I remember we did a dating seminar when I was in college.
Like I said, it worked. They're married, man.
And the lady got up, and I was surprised at what priority a man's relationship with his mother was on the girls' radar when they polled the audience. And they all said, I'm convinced that the way he treats his mother is the way he'll treat me if we're married. So amongst Christian womandom, all right, that's actually surprisingly up there. That doesn't surprise me. That was a criteria, a box that was checked.
I just thought it was a funny little story. But a couple of reasons why I wanted to go through this, because in and of itself, it's, yes, like I said, he's got a wife. Very good. Cory Booker has a girlfriend. You know what I mean? Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, that's different though, dog.
No,
Gotta
but-
put a ring on it. Be serious.
My point is, though, is that the times I've brought this story up many times, but the only time I've ever actually spoken to a Joe Biden supporter, and they told me that when they saw Andrew Yang at this moment, I'm not going to have any audio. A lot of you guys have seen the clip. It's Andrew Yang. He was at a gun control forum, and then he was someone was talking about a small child being shot, and he was referencing thinking about his own kids, and he teared up a little bit. But this family stuff, the human element stuff, has been killing it for Andrew Yang. And he's even mentioned recently that he wants to kind of refocus a little bit his campaign to address more the human element. He wants to really highlight and there's another reason why I think he's doing that. But he wants to highlight what UBI means to people, what the freedom dividend means. Basically, what he wants to highlight, from what I'm reading into his latest statements from his campaign, Andrew Yang wants to highlight when he's on stage and when he's doing these ads that my policies are for just creating a more human-based, a society where people aren't doing crazy, awful things to each other all the time because it's awful society. Like, that's the fundamental part of it. That's the kind of pie in the sky idea. But you get what I mean. He doesn't just want to say, well, my ideas will be fiscally sound. He wants to say my ideas will free people, from some of the things that burden them. That's a lot better. Big part of that's going to be his family and working him in. And like I said, this video did really good for him. This flipped. I guarantee you people went from who's that Andrew Yang guy? Is he even really serious about running to, this is like a serious dude running for president now. Now, the reason why I wanted to kind of show you guys this little thing right here is because if I go back to that CNN article, they ask another thing about why Evelyn kind of let Yang run. Like, why did you let your husband run for president? I think that's an under-asked question, by the way. Like, yeah, why would any wife let their husband run for president? You know what I mean? It's like, no, why? Please, can you stay home with the kids? Can you do anything besides run for president and make our life crazy? But she mentions, I want to see if I can find here, that here we go. She says, the freedom dividend and humanity first is the reason why I let him run for president, according to Evelyn. And I think what we're seeing with Andrew Yang, not only bringing Evelyn in, but also what we're seeing with Andrew Yang's pivot to this more focus, this is legitimately what she says right here is kind of what he has described as the focus of his campaign now. I want to explain how the freedom dividend works with my humanity first platform. I want to fold that together. Well, maybe it's because that's why his wife's letting him run for president in the first place. And he realized maybe she had a good idea when she said, I'll let you run because I think you got a good idea here with this freedom dividend. I think Yang's campaign finally figured out what they were doing. No offense, but we brought up in a previous video, they started their campaign off with a website called UBI2020.com, not Yang2020.com. Like, there was my favorite quote from that article about the early stage of the Yang campaign was one of the campaign members said, in 2018, nobody was joining the Yang campaign to further their political career. Like this was a hobby, basically. And now we're seeing him finally, it looks like, heeding Evelyn's advice along with his new expensive law or marketing firm. And it looks like it, like I said, we're kind of
we don't
in the
have
midst.
data yet. That's the only thing we're lacking.
But
is
a
just
poll
like,
came out, I believe, today, Economist YouGov, and Andrew Yang at 4% in it again. So we're seeing this trend up. From
but that's also not. We still haven't had our polling week where it's a full-fledged week of Iowa specific. Seeing how the $1 million ad buy works.
After a rocky October, the last few polls have been showing he's stabilizing. So if he stabilizes and then moves up, but again, I just want to highlight that it seems that this pivot hasn't failed him.
Yeah, a 4% economist poll. Yeah, that's great. That's good news for the campaign and everything. But it also isn't specific to a unique question that we have.
But just latest polls trending up is what I want to say.
Yeah.
So latest polls aren't trending down after he made this kind of new pivot towards including more of his family, stuff like that. So that was some cool stuff. And then at the end here, I want to go through one last little thing. Heavy.com actually put together a pretty interesting article where they but they're just some interesting facts about Yang and Evelyn. I want to run through you guys just because a lot of you guys are probably wondering who actually is Evelyn Yang. I know it's Andrew Yang's wife. Like, I don't think she came into existence as the wife of Andrew Yang. Who was this person, right? Mm-hmm. Some interesting, funny stuff we'll go through. First, they met at Columbia University. So, as much as we like to say that Andrew Yang is like not exactly like the, I don't know.
That reminds me of Ali Wong.
Yeah,
her stand-up where she was like, "I trapped him." Yeah, I'm hunted at the universities. I trapped him.
But it's just like as much as Andrew Yang's a man of the people, he also met his wife, who became a marketing executive for a major company.
I mean, at Columbia.
At Columbia,
bragging rights.
Like no, but I mean, like man of the people. But he's also, you know what? You know how Andrew Yang can win presidency? He has enough of the blue blood elite in him. We'll let him in. You know. know?
Yeah.
They'll be like, are you in politics? Like, dude, come on. I graduated
Well-
from Columbia School of Law in 99, okay? And they're like, oh, okay. Oh, you went to Columbia. I can almost see that with like this Yang guy running. Was he from like
Yeah.
Silicon Valley? Did you invent an app? And he's like, oh no, I went to Columbia Law School. And
No,
they're like,
it's more of that. Like, I'll
Columbia
tell you,
School.
it's these kind of strange intangibles are so true. I was on set in Germany, and what's really funny is I lived in New York at the time, and we were talking with a bunch of the actors and the producers and everything like that. And Hollywood is super pretentious, and so everybody's kind of like, oh, you're a new guy. Who's this new guy on set, right? And I was there visiting a friend. And what's really funny is no one really paid me attention until the lead actor, you know what I'm saying? In conversation, he was talking about New York. I was like, oh, that's cool. Where do you live in New York? He was like, oh, I live here and here. I was like, sweet. Yeah, I'm only like 5 or 6 blocks away. He's like, oh, you live in New York? I was like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Outside 22nd Street, between 2nd and 3rd. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, okay, cool. And then he was like willing to talk and engage with me because he felt like I was a legit artist because I lived in New York. You know what I'm saying? There are these strange qualifications that these groups and natural hierarchies have that really get you farther than you think, and are a lot more necessary than you think among some of these crowds.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just a couple other funny facts here I want to talk about with Evelyn. So I believe this is just one of those small world things. I believe when she was studying abroad in Shanghai, she met the future CEO of her husband's company.
Wow.
Which is a pretty funny little story.
Oh yeah, I remember that story. Yeah,
exactly. Eileen Lee, during the study abroad program, Lee became Venture for America's COO when it first launched. That's just kind of a cute story.
Rock on.
This is, yes, they did indeed get married. They had a wedding. Looked very lovely. It was a destination wedding, I guess. But the one I wanted to show is, again, that Evelyn, exactly. She didn't fall out of the sky. Before she became the mother of these 2 children, she was a L'Oreal's a marketing executive, and after the first son was born, she
bragging rights.
Again, this is the thing I wanted to highlight is
Dude, just to throw a wrench into a party, she should be like, "Oh, I work for L'Oreal," and just like fake that she was the L'Oreal girl.
Anyway, L'Oreal aside, the question here is why? Not even why. Will bringing Evelyn Yang into the Andrew Yang campaign help? Will Andrew Yang leaning more on the fact that, hey, this is my wife, this is my family, this is my kids, this is our story? Is that going to help him win the White House? I think. The primary, 1,000% yes. This is our story. This is my family. Because here's the thing, too. It's interesting that the reason why I want to highlight this tweet again, you'll notice, if you really read the tweet, it basically says nothing. My wife will be with me for part of the trip and then meet me in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And is Atlanta on the West? What are you talking about? It's just because he wants to get there in front of you. He wants people to see her more. And this is a clear decision by the campaign. I mean, Andrew Yang actually said in the tweet right here, just saw some new ads that have been coming and they look great, particularly anything with Evelyn in it. I mean, he's mentioning I remember people kind of like dug through his Twitter account.
Yeah.
I guess Evelyn left her scarf on a bus and no one ever found it. Like people that was what we knew about his wife before then, because I fully understand why. I think when he first announced he was running, he was kind of like keeping his wife out. It's like, I'm running for president. But no, it's not a bad move at first, because you don't know what if all of a sudden, for whatever reason, he started getting attacked all the time. You don't want your family getting attacked if you can protect them from that. So once he realized that's not the state I'm in and I'm actually kind of running for president, like straight up and legit, I think he felt more comfortable to bring his family in because he felt less comfortable they'd be attacked. Because who wants their family getting attacked online?
I think,
no
dude,
one wants
that. I think
that's
second, you're a fool if the second you open that door of running for political office, if you don't think your family will get dragged into it, you are just naive.
But yeah, but you still have some control.
That's like signing up for the military, not thinking you'll get shot.
Well, most people don't get shot in the military.
Okay,
actually.
you're right. Most don't. Like most people that run for president doesn't ruin their lives. But like there's always the possibility of something happening. The second you sign that paper, they own you.
Yeah, but
it's the second you sign that paper that I'm running for office, the internet owns you.
Okay, but at the same time, you do have some control over how much exposure you give the internet to various
people. Yeah, I know, but I'm just...
Anyways, I'm not going to get lost in all this nonsense. The reason I wanted to kind of again show this is because what are demographics Andrew Yang struggles with? Generally speaking, older people in general, and by older people, I'm not saying like old people. I just mean like if you're over the age of like 35 or 37, you probably don't support Andrew Yang, just statistically, 1, and 2, just the female vote in general. Just in general, that's an audience. He does have a lot of this very, what's the word I'm looking for? His stage presence is definitely very like masculine, I guess you could say. Like, I could see why sometimes when he does things, it would turn
He's a
off
tech bro.
but it would turn off a female audience. Like, it's more of like things that would play to a male audience. So I see why that struggles. Again, a great way to get into that is probably to highlight your smart, your smart wife who's raising your lovely children. It's probably a good way to address that. Well, also, like I said, the thing that he's bringing them in too, he's starting to lean more on because this has been part of his campaign forever, just not the heart of it. And I think now it's going to be the heart of the campaign. For a while, he'd been saying, look, UBI is really important because my wife stays home to take care of our child who has autism. And she's basically, according to the market, worth nothing for that, which doesn't make any sense. We know that's not correct. Like, the market isn't always right. He actually, in a lot of ways, it's kind of funny. I don't want to get too lost off tangent. We're kind of running up to the end here. In a lot of ways, when he talks about these kind of things, he's kind of echoing a sentiment I hear a lot from Tucker Carlson of like, capitalism's good, but it's not an idol. We don't have to just be like, man, it's too bad capitalism ruined everything.
It's like capitalism is a tool that we get to fulfill our values.
We're still steering the ship. You know what I mean?
Not the value that dictates how we run our lives in our society.
Which I think is what MJ is going to start talking more about and say we don't have to like tear capitalism down, but it's also not perfect. So I think Yang is going to mention, he'd been mentioning his wife, he's going to mention it more. I think it'll work for him, man. It's a long way of saying I think this play is going to work out for him. I think this is the stuff people kind of like to see, man. It's because here's the thing, you're going to be in, because when you're the president, I think it's one reason why people get so upset about the president. I mean, when he's the president, man, more or less, he's kind of in charge of what happens to my family as well. So seeing that he has a family that he's taken care of for a while, I can see how that can make people feel more comfortable. It's like, okay, well, he's at least kept his family together. Maybe that means he's not going to ruin this country for no reason. It's one of the reasons why I say what you want. Donald Trump is a very big family with many generations. I don't think he wants to ruin the country. I mean, what would worry me more is someone who, even the Clintons, man, they got kids, right? They got grandkids. It would worry me more as someone, no offense, I'm single with no kids, but I mean,
even Hillary Clinton herself, when she was asked what does she like about Donald Trump, she said nothing, but I like his kids.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, there is something about it. So
in
I
that
think
last debate,
well. Yeah, I think this plays well though for Yang. I think it's an interesting pivot too, because again, if you're just like do a graph of Evelyn Yang mentions online for the last like 90 days, it would be from functionally zero to here's a Newsweek article. I didn't even mention Newsweek did a whole write up back in July. Who is Andrew Yang's wife? Evelyn Yang went from L'Oreal exec to stay-at-home mom. This is from July of this year. They did a look into this. So people have been interested, but you haven't seen the Yang campaign doing it. Like I said, Newsweek runs this article in July, and then we see now in November, Andrew Yang actually sitting down for an exclusive with CNN. So he's focusing on it. He's forcing her into tweets that really have nothing to do with her. No offense, Evelyn, she really is. And I think it's a good idea, man. I know you like it too. So it's a long way of saying, we have a habit here, going the long way of saying, idea good. We agree.
Rock on. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Tell us how you feel. Do you think this will help out? What does he need to do? How does he need to wield the sword of Evelyn's awesomeness? I think that was a very valid analogy. Just leave us a comment. If you can drop us a like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you want to contribute to the channel, there's going to be a link in the description. Or you can go to problemsolverpolitics.com and purchase a hat. We just sent out 2 more this week. Yeah, we want to hear what you guys have to say. Make sure you also follow us on Tuesdays and Thursdays when we stream. This is Problem Solver Politics. We'll see you in the next video.